Welcome to April's Flamingo Community Lagoon AMA. Once again, it's the last Tuesday of the month, so we're here hanging out to chat about Flamingo Finance, the project roadmap, DeFi, crypto markets, and anything else. And remember, this is an AMA, so we're also here to answer any questions the Flamingo community may have. For those who don't know, Flamingo Finance is an easy-to-use DeFi platform built on the Neo N3 blockchain. As a decentralized exchange, Flamingo is designed with smart functions for everyone, from beginners to advanced crypto users. On Flamingo, users can stake digital assets in liquidity pools and earn rewards in our native token, FLM. We've been around for over 3 years and currently have a TVL, or total locked value, of over 18 million USD. We've also introduced our very own stablecoin called FUSD, where users can add collateral and borrow the stablecoin against the collateral. On top of all that, we've just introduced the world's first completely on-chain order book for limit order trades on layer 1, as well as our multi-dividend bearing asset Flox, which has burned over 112 million FLM from investors minting it. That is equal to 4 million USD of FLM burned. Gone forever. Ciao. For those listening in on YouTube or Spotify, we hold these lagoons live on Discord, which we'll link below so you can join us in the next one. And please don't forget to like and subscribe from any platform you're tuning in from. Your support is greatly appreciated and is important to get more flamingos at the lagoons each month. If you're in the audience, feel free to raise your hand and come join us on stage to ask any questions you may have, or drop any questions in the chat and we'll keep tabs on it. With that, let's get this thing started. One of our lead devs, Mr. Google, is in Dubai for the week at Token 2049. He's there representing Flamingo and also moderating some DeFi discussions. He may be joining us today. He may not be joining us. We'll see. Anyway, I thought maybe we could get this thing started by talking about 112 million FLM have been burned by Flox. Over 4 million USD. Wow.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a huge percentage of the supply, actually.
Yeah.
So
that's over what? Over 1 year of minting?
Yeah.
FLM?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Depends if you count backwards or forwards. Do you remember last time we did the calculations? It's
Yes.
Yeah. If you're thinking about like future mint, it goes a bit further because the minting is reducing.
Right.
So that's quite a milestone, actually. That was a good launch, and we've recently seen some good price action in the last days, weeks, and before, or I should say after the drop in price. So the APY is a little bit reduced, so maybe that's why we see even a little bit slowdown of FLM burned, but we aim to show some better numbers because the APY, it's a really an individual thing. It depends on your purchase price of FLM and when you go into the Flux. So people should be aware of that as well. For the people who bought low right now, the APY is still quite high for them, actually. With they might be like actually seeing some of the old numbers that was in the APY, and I guess that's why it was really hot as well. People were starting to crunch the numbers and seeing like, well, this is a killer product. I would like to just stay here and earn some more FLM or some diversified yield. Seems like the diversified yield option is popular.
So speaking of APY, is that the APY shown on the UI on Flamingo? Is that individual, or does everyone see the same number?
It would be that is, everyone sees the same number. Just to answer the question, but we could instead maybe show something that you do in stocks. Instead, you show like a price earnings, because I think that in the name it tells you what it is. So you pay a price right now the buying flux has a price, and that's the price you pay in relation to how much it earns. So you take how much you earn from it divided on the price, or maybe it's opposite, and then you get the number. But people are not familiar with that, and you can actually calculate that from the APY that we show right now. But people who are into DeFi, they're used to seeing that number. Where's that green number on my return? What can I expect if I buy right now? So that's maybe while we don't have any other numbers to show, that's maybe the most honest number to show. We have the calculator, but that's more advanced. So we aim to show, like, if you connect your wallet, we could say that at the time where you bought Flux, it had a value in dollar terms. And this is the dollar terms that you have earned for now and what we project forward. And that gives you an individual personal APY based on your costs. And if you want to go a little bit further, okay, the first time you bought FLM, what was the price? And maybe from there you can calculate what's your APY, what's your true average cost of buying Flux, basically. So it's hard to calculate, but usually in tax terms, you say when you do the conversion from one asset to other, that's your cost. So that's what we aim to do on the Flux page as well. So you get your initial cost. That's when you bought the Flux, and we note the dollar amount, and we can then from there give you your personal APY.
Nice. And then I just want to get into the APY that people are seeing right now a little bit, because I saw there were some discussions in the chats, people wondering about that. So that's based on an annual average, correct?
Yeah, it has to be, because it's an annual percent, right? Annual percent return or annual percent yield. So you have to extrapolate that to a year. So what we do is that we have right now we have the data for the epochs that have been, and we have the data for the current epoch that's not been paid out yet. And we try to average the time span from when we started to right now, or we record the periods of time, and then we record how much has been earned in those epochs and the current epoch, and from there we derive the APY. That's the best estimate we can give right now. So we try to take everything that's been paid out so far and extrapolate that to an average of a year and see where we come out, basically. So there's already been some really good epochs and some less good epochs, and it's the average of that, basically. We will share more information on how exactly it's calculated on the page as well, so users can be more comfortable with knowing that number. And we will also let you choose, okay, can I see the APY just including the current epoch, the last two epochs, all the epochs, to see all the epochs, that would be my average, right? If I just do the past couple of epochs, we can say, okay, maybe that's the real number I should look at now, because we're a year in and the prices has changed dramatically, the fees has changed dramatically. So then you can do your own kind of calculation and choose the APY that, or compare the APYs to get comfortable.
Right. Okay. And another thing I wanted to bring up was people talking about being able to mint either 1-to-1 or 1-to-1.1 against being able to buy it on the market for, I think, even as low as 0.65 FLM. And the reason that is because people who bought Flocks on day one or early bought for, in my opinion, cheap FLM. So people were buying FLM in order to mint the Flocks are now able to sell for 0.65 FLM and still profit. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. I don't even think that's an opinion. That's a fact. People are profiting, even selling it as low as 0.65 because of how cheap they bought it when FLM was I don't know, at 1 cent or whatever. So yeah, I
Yeah,
just wanted to kind of
yeah.
address that as well because people were asking in the chat how that's possible or why people are selling it that quote unquote cheap, and it's because, well, to them they're still in profit. So
Yeah, exactly. So it's really individual. Where did you get in, and where do you want to get out? So you can imagine FLM price pumping maybe 10x from where it is now, already a little bit pumped up. Then of course it makes sense if you want to make a dollar profit to sell the flux at a discount because you want an out. You want to, okay, maybe your tactic is, okay, I'm going to sell now, I'm going to wait, I'm going to see if I get a lower price on Flux again, and then I'm going to use the dollar to buy FLM again on the market and then buy Flux again. And then I have more Flux now. It doesn't seem intuitive when you see the discount of, okay, so right now we have 78 Flux on the FLM. So it's cents on the dollar, kind of. So 78 flux on the FLM, and that makes sense for someone who is 22% in the money, I should say. Rough estimate. So maybe let's say they're 40% in the money now. They want to take that profit and maybe see if they can buy back later. And that's why it makes sense. It's not that you're undervaluing the flux necessarily. It is I bet it is a trading strategy, and they want to be lower than the next one. So I want to sell before the next guy, and then I have to have a lower price. And that's how the markets work, basically. So you're able to scoop up some cheap flux if you want to. And that's the whole idea of having the new version of the order book released at roughly the same time as Flux is released, because we can't, now that we burn the FLM, we can just give an exit strategy where we show, okay, we're just going to give you back the FLM and even more FLM minted and even more dividends from fees. Now you'd let go of that FLM to hold the Flux because you believe in the future of Flamingo, and you believe in its earning power, and that's going to go to you. And so the exit strategy then has to be sell on the market. And that's why we needed that synergy before we could release. And you're seeing it play out now. And as we move along, I expect that market to become more and more liquid, and the exit to become easier and easier to execute.
Yeah, and I think people can expect to see the same, if not more, volatility in terms of whether or not they want to mint it with FLM directly for 1 to 1.1, or buying it on the market for all these different volatile prices, because it really depends on the cost basis of those who minted it with FLM or those who bought it off the market with FLM. So it kind of, the price of Flux is going to be just as volatile as the price of FLM, really.
Yes, it has to really, it is connected because there's one way in, and that's through FLM.
Yep.
Yeah. So we expect to see, and that's the reason why, by the way, why we have the Flux FLM pair and not Flux FUSD, because it would be really hard to do a proper estimate of what is a good dollar price to exit on. Well, that depends on the FLM market, right? The FLM price. So maybe you just add an order, and then 2 hours later there's a big change in the FLM price, and you're like, wow, that's not a good price anymore. That isn't really a good price. And then you go cancel the trade and then make another one, and you just have to move your trades or your orders along the same path as the price to be happy. And with the Flux FLM pair, you don't have to, because it's in direct relation to FLM.
Yeah, and it's funny to think about the amount of FLM burned. That also seems volatile, right? Because people are minting more when FLM is cheap, and buying more Flux when FLM is expensive, because they're able to sell the FLM for more money and get the Flux kind of cheaper on the market that way. So the burning slows down when that happens, but when FLM the price of FLM goes down, people would rather mint it. So it seems like the amount of FLM that's burned is volatile as well for various reasons. So when people ask why is it slowing down, it's because there's more people buying it on the market because of the price of FLM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have the burn mechanism on each of the epochs payout of FLM as well. So hopefully when you achieve some sort of equilibrium where there's a highly liquid flux FLM market and people really don't need to mint with FLM anymore, they don't choose that option, still FLM will be burned because there's certain percentage at every epoch that goes to buy FLM in the market and burn it. So as the flux grows and as the volume grows on the platform, FLM is burned automatically that way also. So the FLM burning will never stop now, even if the buying of flux with FLM slows down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be why it still increases, even though people are probably just buying on order book.
Yeah. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you wanted to open on a real positive note, because I I wanted to maybe open on a more negative note, talking about Binance, addressing the elephant in the room. So I would like to address the community on that and give a little update. Not that I maybe have more to update on other than what's publicly communicated, because Binance really is a black box, and for me, I can't communicate with them directly. I communicate with Binance through NGD, Neo Global Development. They are the ones who listed FLM on Binance in the first place, and they're basically their legal contact, I should say, or at least a contact point. So I try to communicate with NGT, and NGT is communicating with Binance. It's going back and forth. But this is kind of like a black box. And like NGT tells me, it's not like something is missing in communication or translation here, because what's really happening is it's not that much communications. And what I can see from the other projects as well, it's like they're surprised when all of a sudden we're getting delisted, and community members are, why didn't you tell us? And usually the response is, we didn't know. We didn't know we were going to be on a monitoring list. We didn't know that we were going to be delisted or voted to be delisted. So I understand the frustration from the community, but I can't really... I don't work at Binance, and I can't reach in and grab data and information and read their minds on what's going on. So my guess is maybe slightly better than yours if I speak directly to the community, but not much. So I've been discussing with NGD what's possible to do, and my conclusion basically comes down to, if the solution is to please Binance in ways that you need to just pour money into a sink to make them happy so that you can earn more fees on your project, and then just sell that token to earn more dollars to have the privilege of being listed on their platform, it's kind of feeling more like a hostage negotiation than a pure business transaction. And as we're moving really, really forward to Flamingo being something that's truly decentralized, and we have our own trading platform, as good as, but not as cheap as Binance, but more decentralized and more transparent as Binance, then why should we feel like a hostage? I feel that we shouldn't. And I'm more in favor of just cut the bullshit. We're a good project. We're delivering huge technical milestones. We have volume. We have a community that's active, that's loving, that's caring, and we tick all the boxes that a good project should tick. And in my opinion, that should be good enough. And if Binance is concerned with volume and earning USD over time from a project that is bleeding from being listed there, then okay, that's their business. It's not going to be my business. And of course, I understand that it goes two ways, and it's kind of like a big deal to be listed on Binance. But I don't feel that we get that kind of what should I say, like market activity from being listed anymore. Once you're a new hot project, of course, you get all the attention. And Binance, that's kind of strange as well, because they reached out and wanted to do like some co-marketing as well. At the same time, they added the marketing tag. So we were really confused, because we were, with that kind of reaching out to do co-marketing, they seemed really pumped on the project. And then like in another chat, it's like we're getting the monitoring tag. So what's up? So yeah, it's we don't feel that we get that much in return from it either way. So because we're listed on major exchanges anyways, and we just got listed on another major exchange without without paying a lot of money to do that. That was basically just, hey, that seems like a cool project. Let's list it. So it's free marketing, and that's maybe the way it should be. They like the fundamentals, and then they list. And I guess they did with. I hope they did at least with Flamingo back in the day as well. And that's just what we're trying to prove. We're a good project, and we're in good health. So to speak, and I hopefully that's enough. I'm personally not going to be held hostage by a centralized entity to build decentralized finance. That doesn't jive with me.
I agree.
And of course, some kind of a remedy to stay listed on Binance, if someone in the community or someone at the entity has a good plan to maybe do some kind of change the tokenomics or something to better the situation, or to please Binance. Okay, put that to vote, and let's vote with FLM or vote with Flux to see if the community is happy with doing that. If there's some talk of diluting or putting assets into that is now used to secure the platform into pleasing Binance, I say put that off to a vote and let the community decide what to do. In my personal opinion, and with my personal FLM or Flux, I've got to vote against anything just to please a centralized entity to being allowed to be listed. That's just the way I feel, and that's a lot of my personal opinions. And with regards to the status updates, we're not delisted. In this round we were not. We were not on the top votes from the community on Binance to delist. They put a project up for a vote. They could vote which one they wanted to see delist, and we're not on that list as well. So we're still having the monitoring tag. We're not delisted. We just have to wait and see what they communicate next. And that's basically the status.
Thanks for that update, Laser. And I hold the same thoughts as you. Like, it feels weird. It feels unnatural. Like, it feels like obviously a surprise to us. None of this kind of made any sense, especially since, like you said, like they were already like working with us on marketing initiatives, and then just to slap us with monitoring tag just kind of seemed out of the blue and quite shocking, honestly. And but yeah, at the end of the day, it does kind of feel like a hostage situation, and more and more it feels like it, the more and more I want nothing to do with it. That's, again, just like you, just my personal opinion. Like, it feels like almost blackmailing. Like, it feels like you have to do this in order for us to do this for you and all this stuff, and that doesn't feel like business. That doesn't feel like good business. That doesn't feel like what we deserve. But at the same time, even just the whole sentiment around the delisting, the monitoring tag, all of that, and again, this is just personal opinion, but even just the sentiment in general, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like it's just like putting too much emphasis on it. And again, this is just, maybe it's just me because I'm in the US and I don't use Binance, but it feels like people are making it out to be like a huge deal. And even though it is a big deal, like maybe it's being made out to be a bigger deal than it is. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm totally wrong on that because I don't use Binance, but
yeah,
please,
I use Binance, and to be fair to them, I also understand their situation, and understand why they would delist projects. Of course I do. And I'm saying that it might feel like a hostage situation if I extrapolate maybe in my imagination what would satisfy Binance to stay listed, but they haven't actually reached out and said you have to do this and this and this. So to be fair to them, it's not like they are explicitly putting us into a hostage situation. It's just like I'm just imagining what would satisfy them, and in that sense it just personally feels to me like what I could offer would be a not balanced transaction, basically. So I have to be fair to them as well. I understand that they have their core business, and delisting and cleansing their product offering is part of their maintenance and quality assurance. So it makes sense. Of course, they have to they don't have to delist, but if that is part of their internal routine, okay, fine. It's okay, and I'm not against centralized exchanges. I use them. I've been using Binance for many years. They built a great product. As I mentioned in our other AMA over at Meme-Turn and Nudes, it's more like that it's a black box, and I can't see inside it. I can see what all these paper trades are actually resulting in, if there's any fake assets or not. Not saying that there is, but that's why I think we have the power of the decentralized exchanges like Flamingo as well. But I see where the centralized exchanges fit into this market. So I'm not hating on Binance or other centralized exchanges. It's more I have to address the situation we're in, and I'm just saying that we're not willing to compromise the user assets, diluting, or I am not willing to dilute others to satisfy a decentralized entity. And then the disclaimer here is that neither has Binance told us that we have to. It's just that we're extrapolating and imagining. So if someone from Binance is listening in, it's totally understandable. And if it's a delist, fine. That's okay. I hope still that they see that is a good platform, and eventually they will have to list again once we're the most popular decentralized exchange in the world. So let's just stay positive, but I understand Binance and I understand users' concerns.
Yeah, and speaking of users' concerns, I also see speculation from the community that none of this was ever even... people are speculating that Binance maybe never even had a plan to delist us, and are only adding the monitoring tag and all of this delisting propaganda almost because they shorted it and want the price to collapse so that they can make money, and then all of a sudden stop the FUD and wait for the price to go back up, and that people are kind of thinking maybe that's what's happening.
Well, yeah, but nobody knows, right? So you can't, of course, you can't claim that. You can't say that Binance is doing that, and so especially if someone is listening in from Binance or we're summarizing this AMA, it doesn't really help if we want to stay on Binance as well, to spread kind of FUD about Binance as well. If we do love to stay listed there, and as a community we would like to stay that, should also kind of like, if Binance is that distrustworthy, then we should be happy with the delist, right? So if you want to stay listed, it's strange to call the platform also shitty in the same sentence, because then we would basically ask community members to go vote for us to be delisted, right? If they do kind of short us and try to squeeze us and do stuff like that, maybe that's happening. But maybe that's someone else also in another exchange that has listed FLM, and it's just arbitrage that also reflects that over at the Binance volume, because it's the biggest exchange trading FLM. So we don't know, and we can't really make any claims on that. But of course,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
some speculate, and I think it's. I think it's helpful to kind of like look at the fundamentals. Are we improving? Have we delivered technical good products? Have we delivered products that is fundamentally sound in any economical way? Yes, we have, and that takes time to trend. And people kept speculating about other people speculating in the market. Like you say, like with the short now, maybe Binance doing that. How are you going to trade on that? That's really, really difficult. So you maybe make some algorithm. You try to figure out when the sexes are buying and when they're approaching a dump to maybe go short, and you ride that wave, of course. But it's really hard for us as moderators to comment on that even. It's like we can have our own theories, but I'll keep those to myself. And maybe they align or don't align with all these theories, but still it's like I can't reach into that black box and know for sure. And
Right.
then,
I wish we could. Like I
wish we could. Yes.
Right. I wish Binance did reach out to us and say this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing it, but they haven't.
No. So then the speculation is just open for the community.
Exactly. That's
the
why there's so
Binance
much
community and the Flamingo community, both communities can just speculate freely because it's not addressed. So so yeah, that's and maybe the monitoring tag is because of the negative price action over time, and all of a sudden a downward spike that we saw with NeoGas and FLM. It was maybe like, okay, is there some target against the ecosystem? Maybe then we just monitor because of that and protect our users in that sense, and it's not communicated. So it could be like we're trying to protect users here. Okay, fine. But when they're not talking, we don't know. so yeah, at least we have had some positive price action now for the over 1 week at least, and that's good to see. And we're just going to continue to build. And if we get any more information, we'll of course update the community immediately with the communication both ways. If we send something to Binance or if we receive something from Binance.
Yeah, and again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to come on stage or drop the questions in the chat, and we'll keep tabs on that and answer you as well as we can. But as Atlaser said in the beginning, like, we don't know much more than you know. So we're kind of in the dark as well here. We're as much light as we try to get into, we're still fairly in the dark as well.
We're letting you know exactly every single transaction that goes on the platform. That's how transparent we are. Yeah, okay, transitioning to something else. Mr. X is asking in the live chat if we know when we're gonna list more coins. For example, Doge, XRP, ADA, ADA. Well, we still have a little bit of a backlog cleaning up after releasing these huge milestones on Flamingo, especially in terms of getting more liquidity in, with the FUSD being now the quote pair for most of the token listings. We have to solve that liquidity problem by adding a new contract that will basically make it easier to inject more liquidity on the stablecoin side of Flamingo, and that's a top priority now. We're also fixing user interface and user experience paper cuts. That's small bugs that will really annoy people over time or prohibit people from trading. So we're trying to fix all those paper cuts before we move on to more listings, because that requires cross-chain development. It doesn't require the new cross-chain specifically, but it requires some of the devs to dedicate time to make sure that happens in a safe and secure way with the old cross-chain infrastructure if we want to list immediately. And then if we're talking about with a new cross-chain, of course that has to be built and tested first, and that's further in the horizon. But we're thinking of listing more tokens more immediately with the old cross-chain infrastructure. rough estimation, maybe we're talking a couple of months before we see listing from another chain. If we're talking about some new token sprouting up on the new entry chain, of course that could be listed before. But I think Mr. X is hinting to major volume drivers here with the lists of token he is providing. So yeah, that's the really rough estimate. Hopefully we can do it even earlier. I would like to see some token listings as well. And that's something that's really nice now, because we can add a really shallow pool with those tokens, and Flamingo can provide funds for that base liquidity in that pool as a liquidity provider, and we don't have to provide much rewards. And then people could start placing limit orders, and arbitrage would make sure that they're executed. So I look forward to the future where I can trade thousands of tokens on Flamingo, and that future will come. So I'm just, in my mind, where we're moving with Flamingo, it's becoming so powerful. It's like, of course, you can build decentralized exchange using the Cosmos SDK and have that up and running using ChatGPT maybe in a month or something. That's possible, but then you have your own chain. And what's your consensus mechanism? What's really your true source of decentralization? I choose to opt into the Neo M3 model. I really believe in that consensus model. So that's what every user of Flamingo opts into as well. They opt into that consensus model of the chain, and that we're able to build such projects on top of that. And we're going to be able to trade thousands of tokens in billions of dollars of volume. It's kind of like blows my mind. So I'm hyped for the future. I'm just ranting here, boys. Just stop me.
That's all right. Keep going. Another a question I had personally. I've seen some of the UX changes that you've mentioned on Orderbook Plus in the previous days. Are you guys still like working on that on like an ongoing basis, or is what there is now kind of what we're gonna get for a while?
No, working on it. Just last day, I tried to break up a lot of the tasks on my paper cut list of smaller bugs or really annoying larger bugs that like prohibit users from doing their trading activities. They've been delegated to several devs, including myself, and we're continually working on them. I think with them more major tasks now, we're in the review phase, so there's less work, and then devs can focus on the paper cuts. So that's ongoing. We'll just release them as soon as possible. They'll just commit their code, it will get reviewed and then just released. Just the other day we improved a little bit on the trading account experience. So right now on the trading page you have on the right column you have the account tab, where it shows your assets in the trading account, where you can withdraw and deposit directly from there instead. So that improves a little bit, and we'll see improvement to the wallet tab that you have on the bottom of the page wherever you are on Flamingo. We call that the action bar, where you have the asset action, wallet, accounts, and settings. So that wallet tab will get renamed to your account, and you will be able to get a better overview of where your assets are in their wallet, in the trading account, in staked pools, etc., and even in Blend. Eventually, we'll show everything there. That's an ongoing progress on my table, on my to-do list. So continuously now you will see improved trading experience, improved flux data, improved everything basically. So it's just ongoing. We'll continue to release features and bug fixes every week.
Nice. Looks like there's a question. Are there any updates on the new marketing team? Have you discussed a marketing strategy for FLM? I think Crypto Babylon is referring to the marketing team that you all and NGD met with regarding Neo, and maybe that kind of trickles down to Flamingo a little bit. Sounds like Crypto Babylon wants to hear a little bit about that. I wasn't part of those discussions. I know Mr. Google was. I'm not sure if you were at Laser.
No, I didn't. I wasn't able to make the trip down to Portugal to meet with the team, but I got a good summary from Odd, and he was really hyped after the meeting. And just to be clear, that's Neo's new marketing team. That's not Flamingo's new marketing team. But of course, we're hyped for Neo to get more marketing. And one of their, if I remember correctly, part of their strategy was to highlight the apps and the prominent figures in this space. And let's be honest, a lot of the prominent figures are Flamingo Finance players. so it directly kind of like trickles down to Flamingo that way, and also trickles down because the more exposure the Neo M3 chain gets, of course, the biggest DEX on the chain gets attention. So that's something we're not looped into on a day-to-day basis. But I guess maybe Mr. Google is through his channels and can share more in the next AMA. But he seemed really, really hyped. They seemed like they really know what they're doing, and they're Western focused more than Eastern focused in their strategies, and they seem to know what's up when you want to communicate with the West. So that's good. At least Mr. Google summarized it as, this is what I've been waiting for ever since I discovered Neo. So that's something big coming from him.
Yeah.
And the more like direct, indirect effect, if it's possible to say that, is that they're going to highlight prominent figures, maybe like me, maybe like you, Bordeaux, and try to share content that we do, and try to get influencers to share tweets that we share. So hopefully that will have an effect, and that's free, that's bonus, that's extra.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Together with the great work that you do, Bordeaux.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. The more the merrier. So
yeah,
I'm pumped about it as well. Can't wait to kind of see what they come with, and where we can take Flamingo and Neo with their help.
Yeah, Bordeaux.
Like Go ahead.
Yeah, Boris is asking. Yeah, when $1? Yeah, well, just you can mint FUSD now if that's what you're referring to. It's roughly $1 all the time. So I'm just diverting that discussion away from FLM price and into the FUSD price. It's super stable. Just go mint, Boris. Boris is an OG in the Neo space for those listening in. And of course, it's a joke when $1. Of course, we all want to see that price again, but with the innovation, it's possible. No financial advice. Let's grow steady. And my first milestone will be 1 kroner first, and we can take $1 after that. So yeah, anyone else with more questions? I think for me at least, it would be nice to cut it 10 minutes early so that I am not late for my daughter's gymnastics practice.
Nice.
If there's any
more,
let's
definitely let you head out over to that. Just a couple quickies that I've heard, through the grapevine the past couple of weeks. People are asking about the convert feature. Yes, convert is back open up, so you can convert your assets, swap your assets using convert. I also saw someone asking if Flocks was going to be available on convert ever.
What's the reason why we haven't whitelisted that? I'm not sure actually. Okay. I think maybe me and Odd had a discussion about it. Yeah, we can. It's I think it's a technical challenge where I have to enable trading in the AMM in the routes that the convert page possibly takes, because that might have to take a path between several pairs to execute your trade, because maybe we don't have the trading pair between the two tokens that you want to convert between. So let's say you want to buy Flux with FUSD. That's not a listed pair. So then with FUSD, we maybe have to go FUSD FLM and then FLM Flux. And in that path, I have to, or at least it is technically implemented that way, that I have to use the AMM as well to get you the best price. With the Flux FLM price, there is no AMM. AMM refers to a liquidity pool that is used to trade in together with the limit orders that is placed in the book. That is not technically available in the Flux FLM pair. So I think that's the challenge. I'm not sure right now. We have had this discussion, but I can't really remember on top of my head why. So I think it's something where a small new nuance. Yeah.
Maybe similar to why we couldn't launch the auto compound feature.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, because it's kind of like a dangerous convert, because the book can be the book can be completely empty. And what do you do in that case? And the users can get a really, really shitty price if they're not aware of what that product is. So what we could do, maybe I should add it as a task. If you are a UX writer, and maybe you can give me direct feedback. What if people want to buy Flux with, let's say, FUSD, we could give them the option to buy FLM. And with the FLM, we could stack and invoke that we buy Flux for them by minting, if they want to do that. Because then at least we're not offering it up. We're not hiding it away that way. So it wouldn't be like a normal buy, but we could say that we're buying FLM for you, and then we're using that FLM to buy Flux for you if you want to do that type of transaction. Maybe that's good. That would be like a smart functionality.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll think about that. If no one else has any other questions, we'll let Laser get to his daughter's gymnastics practice, and we'll see everyone in the next Lagoon. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll see you next time.